Hello and welcome to iCov. I'm Shona Fagan and by the looks of it, I'm the only presenter available today. Joel seems to have really embraced the fact that today is International Men's Day and decided to be fashionably late. Even without him, we have a jam-packed show for you, including the Rise and Peace Festival, Movember and Coventry's Where the Light Falls exhibition. Run the credits. While we give Joel time to catch his breath, we'll go over to Christina with the news.
God.
Thanks, guys. Good afternoon, and here are your headlines. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has issued a challenge to Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn over his sentence on Brexit. Ahead of their first head-to-head TV debate of the election campaign, Johnson has written to Corbyn accusing him of ducking his questions on Brexit in the campaign so far. A gas explosion inside a coal mine in northern China has killed 15 miners and left 9 injured, authorities said Tuesday. The blast occurred Monday afternoon at a mine operated by the Frank Yang Group in Shaanxi Province, Pingguayu Country. Rescue work was halted early Tuesday after everyone was accounted for. A group of people believed to be anti-government protesters were seen leaving Hong Kong's Polytechnic University campus on Tuesday, while an estimated 100 people remain holed up inside. And finally, after the news about his brother Prince Andrew, this past week Prince Charles and Camilla have arrived for a tour of New Zealand, attending the Queen's Collar ceremony at an airbase in Auckland. Shona Jo, back to you.
Thanks, Christina. It looks like the infamous Joel has decided to bless us with his presence today.
Yeah, I finally caught my breath. Sorry for that mishap, guys. Today is International Men's Day, and I've definitely embraced it by arriving, a few minutes late. Over the past few years, the month of November has been coined as Movember, which is a conscious effort for people to raise awareness and money for male cancer prevention as well as suicide.
Men are growing moustaches to show their solidarity, including our reporter Tom Crack. He went down to Sutton Park in Birmingham this past weekend, where the annual Movember event known as Mo Running took place.
Movember is a charity that's aiming to change the face of men's health across the UK. With over 12,000 deaths recorded over the past 3 years of testicular and prostate cancer, events such as this are aiming to change that. I'm here at Sutton Park in Sutton Coldfield, Birmingham, where an event known as Mo Running is celebrating its 10th anniversary, with citizens coming together to raise money for testicular, prostate cancer and preventing men's suicide.
This is an opportunity for people to come together in a community to work on, having conversations, helping people, like particularly guys who don't have those conversations, and to be active as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Mo Running for Movember is a fantastic event. What the guys are doing today by running around the park is actually raising lots of money for the Movember Foundation so that they can continue their work to basically keep more men alive, whether they're suffering with cancer or mental health issues, which is obviously a huge thing at the moment.
With an 84% survival rate, from 2015 to 2017, 11,714 men have died of prostate cancer. Regarding suicide, in the UK, men are 3 times as likely to die by suicide than women, with the highest suicide rates amongst men aged 45 to 49.
So I'm running today. I'm a sports ambassador for Movember this year, and I'm a tennis coach by trade, but I thought I wanted to take it to the next level, so any chance to wear this costume.
So today I'm the host, or compere. Basically my job is to keep it all together, entertain people, but also to remind them exactly why we're here and the money that we're raising.
My granddad was kind of the original Mo Bro. He had a moustache all my life. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, so I wanted to raise some awareness. And he passed away in circumstances where he was alone in the house and he hadn't talked to anyone, and we didn't know if he was okay. And unfortunately, he passed away a few days later. So yeah, I just really want to be proactive in having conversations. Myself, I've suffered my own mental health difficulties, so for me, I find it really beneficial to do things like this and raise awareness. So.
If you want to take part in Movember or simply donate, head to uk.movember.com to find out how you can get involved.
Although the road ahead is unclear, events such as this make the future all the more brighter. Thomas Crack, iCov News.
Thanks for that, Tom. Personally, I'd love to take part in November, but as you can see, I'm not really capable of growing any facial hair. Yours looks fantastic with the way you show now.
Thank you, Joel. I thought Tom's moustache was good enough to represent the whole of the iCov team, but quite clearly it's me. But later in the show, we'll discuss the possible Oscar nominations and winners, and we'll have a news story from our very own Joel.
But first, Coventry celebrated the Rising Peace Festival, which happens every year around Remembrance Sunday. Coventry is the only city in the UK that represents peace and reconciliation.
I attended a seminar called Faith, Inequality and Peace during the festival, where Rabbi Michael Latz, Teresa Alessandro and Robert Beckford discussed how religion is the cause of all good things rather than the cause of evil.
I would argue that every community who has suffered must determine for itself whether or not what is being put forth is adequate. And it's not my place to say that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was enough for the Black South Africans. I know that the justice would be 6 million of my people not being slaughtered. But since I can't have that, Nuremberg was at least one moment of the world paying attention and at least discussing mental and accountability. But I would also argue these things never actually end. We are constantly deciding in our human relationships how we are going to encounter one another. And if we are willing to hold the great pain and suffering or not, and if we are challenging the systems of indignity and oppression enough that we can create a new narrative.
7.5 trillion, just under 3 to 4 million enslaved people we can actually calculate. We then looked at the institutions who had benefited from enslavement, the genocide money, and the church is in the midst of that. You know, not one apology, not one penny, not one studentship, not one post established by the church. To reckon with this, there are church buildings where people go and worship every Sunday and sing songs of praise to God. That stained glasses in them that were paid with money from genocide. Bristol Cathedral, Liverpool Cathedral, a host of others, and not one tear shed for the millions of African people who suffered and died as a consequence of that. As I go back to my first point, at this point, the Theological Academy in Britain does not have the tools to do peace, justice, reconciliation work when it comes to racial justice. It hasn't systematically evaded the issue.
So I was at the cathedral on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you were at the cathedral as well?
Yeah, I was indeed. It was such a good experience. How did you get on at your event?
I personally loved it. I thought all of the speeches and keynotes were really interesting, really engaging, but it was a long 3 days, definitely a long 3 days. Yours was only the one evening, was it?
I actually went on the Friday and the Saturday, so yeah, I was very busy, but you know, an event well worth going to.
Sounds it, definitely.
Well, yeah, as we were just on about, during the week, I visited Coventry Cathedral, where over 16,000 people visited the Where Light Falls exhibit, as the cathedral was illuminated in honour of forgotten Blitz heroes who fought to save the medieval building. I went to find out more.
Monasteries, the red sandstone walls form and reform, and 3 spires rise to touch the hem of skyline.
It's a really interesting process because the Poetry Society basically came to me with the commission and said, you know, we're working on this project. We have this great commission with Historic England, which would be referring basically to Coventry Cathedral. I was born in Coventry. I have a real connection with the cathedral. I feel like it's an incredible building and something that I've been interested in for a very long time. So it was something that I couldn't really turn down because as a writer as well, a lot of my work is about landscape and place. And particularly about the Midlands, so I felt it was like a really incredible commission to be asked to do. So it just very much felt like something I had to say yes to. And then also I did a lot of work with community groups. I did a lot of research. I did quite a few sort of days coming to the cathedral, visiting the spaces. I did a tour with one of their guides, Richard, who basically took me around for 3 hours and showed me lots of parts of the cathedral that I hadn't really noticed before, and we talked about lots of the history commentary, so all of that kind of went into the poem. So it was a really interesting, exciting experience for me, and a chance. The poem is called In a New Light, partly because I felt that that was one line that kept coming back to me from people participating in the workshops. They kept saying, we're seeing building in a new light, and that was really interesting to see that you can kind of think about your city in a different way. So I also felt that I'd seen the city in a new light as well, hence why the poem ended up being called In a New Light.
And what was it like collaborating with the poet for the projections?
Oh, it was great. It made the whole press process so easy because the poem has an actual framework to it, so each stanza has its own subject matter, and that just meant that it was a very clear cut of when certain visuals can link in to the different kind of parts of the poem, get the basics in place, and then you can start kind of layering it all up. And Jane's been great at just helping us understand what the poem was about, and has always been there just to help us out and to help us develop it as well, which is great.
Thanks for that, Joel. Now we'll turn to Anupam for our sports bulletin.
Cheers, guys. England have progressed through to the Euro 2020 finals as they won 4-0 against Kosovo. The win means England will be one of the top seeds in next year's competition. Wales take on Hungary in tonight's European qualifier, which is a huge for both teams, as the winner of the match will go on to qualify for the next year's competition. F1 drivers Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc collided on the track during the Brazilian Grand Prix yesterday. Neither driver was injured, but Ferrari have launched an official investigation into the incident. And finally, the candidates for BBC's Young Sports Personality of the Year have been announced. The lineup features 11-year-old skateboarding champion Sky Brown and 18-year-old cross-country cycling champion Charlie Aldridge. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Shona and Joel.
Thanks, Anupam. Now, even though the Oscars is in February, there is still a massive buzz this time of year as people start to make their predictions. Now, film correspondent Tom Crack joins us on the sofa.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Good to have you, Tom.
Cheers, guys.
So, obviously, with this massive buzz with the Oscars coming up in February,
yeah.
You know, what are your top picks for winning some awards?
Well, I think the number one movie, which surprisingly, I think, considering the fact that it's considered a mainstream movie, is The Joker. Like, it's grossed over $1 billion worldwide, which, considering its rating, is amazing, because usually films of that sort of rating, it's hard to get that amount of financial support from the public, because families usually are a big reason as to why movies make loads of money, like Avengers, but obviously you can't take the kids to this sort of movie. But, you know, it's just resonated with a lot of people. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, another movie that I could see maybe winning the Best Picture. I mean, Tarantino's movies don't usually win that award, but it's been such a great movie. It did come out in the summer, but even so, the amount of cast that it could really do some wonders there. And The Irishman as well. That's a movie with Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, De Niro. It's directed by Scorsese. That really could be a movie that could win it.
So what about some potential outsiders or wildcard picks? Who'd be your top tips there?
Well, for me, the movie I really hope does win Best Picture personally is a movie called Parasite. It's won Best Movie at Cannes last year. It's a South Korean movie. It's about this family which are down on their luck, and they really are kind of like con men swindlers, and they basically just con this family who lives in a really rich neighborhood in Korea, and the movie basically just shows how the dynamic between the rich and poor, they see the different events that transpire, because there's lots of dramatic events that go on it, and really how they perceive both events. In terms of like, I don't know, actors, outside ones maybe, Daniel Kaluuya, you know, from Get Out, obviously a British actor, really hope he can win. He's a movie called Queen and Slim, which you can see behind now. It's basically kind of like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde. They're not really like getting on very well, basically, but something dramatic happens, and then they obviously have to run from the law. But Best Actress as well, that's something maybe like Scarlett Johansson. I know obviously she's a very famous actress, but she's never been nominated for an Oscar. And she's a movie called Marriage Story with Adam Driver from Star Wars, and if she can win, that'd be amazing.
Thank you for that, Tom.
It's all right.
Now, weather with Christina.
No.
Oh.
Thank you, Tom.
That's all right, cheers.
It's been great having you. It's been great having everyone watching iCov with us, and we'll have the weather next week.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed watching our show. Just Jesus, go with the script.
You're right.